Faces of young people with dreams cut short. This is Bongo, in Ghana's Upper East region. This district is one of the places with the highest number of teenage pregnancy cases. In Ghana, adolescent people initiate sex as early as 10 years old, according to the 2014 Demographic and Health Survey.
Because they don't have any good work to do so that they can support themselves and their children. You see that sometimes some can go to armed robbery, some can go to fornication or prostitution, some can enter into stealing, and at the end they can lose their lives.
And that is what this young woman here is fighting in Bongo. Take the story of Asibi, for example. Got pregnant aged 15, dropped out of school at class 6, gave birth, and now doesn't know what the future holds.
Because man, team money you the dog be a con, like I'm fine, but man, song that T77 can in school, I song to school poor. Never not to hate a honor of poor is Nenzo.
Asibi is just one of hundreds of girls with similar stories. And this is what Curious Minds, a youth group focused on adolescent sexual and reproductive health, is seeking to shine a light on.
Sexuality moves beyond sex. Sexuality has to do with the whole human being. Every human being is a sexual being, and at a point in your life, you would express that sexuality. In the second decade of life, there are remarkable changes that take place. Emotional changes, physical changes. And this is a new road for young people who are transiting to adulthood. And so they need to be taught or guided on how to manage this period. So if you don't give young people access to the relevant information that will help them navigate this road, then it becomes problematic.
As the attention of the entire African region is focused on the issue of demographic dividends this week, it is important that the discussion is sustained to keep such important subjects as sexual reproductive health on the table. Sex has consequences, and as many young people continue to have it unprotected with unplanned families, Ghana's fertility rate would continue to rise. It means a lot for the quality of life in such impoverished communities as this one. This has impact on teenage pregnancy, vulnerability to sexually transmitted infections, and even unsafe abortions. So the big question then remains that it's Ghana and Africa as a whole ready to reap its demographic dividends. Justice Pedu, Joy News, Bongo.
Well, so I guess that will lead us to a lot more conversation about sex, but also the rights of the young people who are within the age belt of having their rights well protected when it comes to the subject of sexual reproductive health. We have timely also a 7th Africa Conference on Sexual Health and Rights going to take place from tomorrow here in our country. It's put together by Curious Minds and its partners. We have the communication lead in the studio, and Joseph Kweamu is here. And Joseph, how are you? I'm good. It's been a while. And Emmanuel Ashong is also the conference coordinator. We're privileged to have such young minds who have been groomed from the early ages, but also now championing the whole cause of sexual reproductive health, but also the rights of those young people within the belt of having their hormones playing tricks on them. But basically, let's talk about this very conference. So ultimately, the objective is?
Well, the objective of the conference is to bring various stakeholders together to deliberate and dialogue on how we can improve interventions and programs for young people and programs targeting their sexual and reproductive health, how to expand access to youth-friendly facilities where young people who have issues with their sexuality or their reproductive health can freely access those services, and also access to information about sexual and health and rights. So basically, this conference is pulling together researchers in the field of children and youth sexuality. It's pulling together young people, youth activists, gender activists who will be speaking from their unique perspectives around the topic of sexual and reproductive health.
Among many of the things we're talking about also is a breaking news that we got this morning, that in the early hours of this morning we had the stabbing to death of the Member of Parliament for Ibuakwa North. J.B. Dankwa Edu is his name, and according to the reports we got from our correspondent on the ground at his house close to the Angie Hotel in East Legon, the incident happened in the early hours of this morning, and it was suspected that those who had done it were unknown and may have used a ladder to climb through onto his wall and gotten into his bedroom where he was sleeping, and subsequently tried to wrestle with him and ultimately stabbed him. Derek Okosam is back on the line. Derek, what's the latest you can give us on this very incident?
Well, Roland, listen, I'm speaking from party people around the neighborhood, the constituencies, that it's not the first time such an attack has occurred. It's not the first attack on the life this year. The first time the assailant came to his office, the constituency office, and they met his absence. So they are not surprised that this has happened at this point in time. From what we have seen, the pictures that have rolled by, the assailant used a ladder from the front of the house straight to his bedroom. That's the latest you are picking.
If you're speaking, can we get a lot more eloquence and clarity in your voice? Because you seem to be speaking a lot more undertone. But so if you can narrate what you just said to us, I think our viewers too will like it a lot.
From what we have seen, is a demonstration by the Ghana police. The ladder was put at the front of the house. The assailant climbed the ladder, like the roof there, straight to his bedroom. I'm also picking information that this is what happened on his life. Sometime last year, some unknown person went to the constituency office to perpetrate such an act, but met the MP's absence. And so some constituency officers of the New Patriotic Party here tell me they are not surprised something like this has happened. Some other party members are wailing. One of them, crying in a can, said something. He said yesterday he was speaking to the MP, and according to what the man was saying, he told the MP to pray because he had seen that doom might befall him, that is the MP, before the end of the week.
But were the police, are you getting reports whether the police were on guard at his residence before the incident happened, or whether he had a security person on post?
There was a security man here, but as of the time the incident happened, the security man was not at his post. He came back to realize that the ladder was at the wrong place, and that is not where it should be, up the roof straight to the bedroom. And so he also went out to call some other security person to come help him arrest the situation. And so from what they are saying, when the assailant through the window and realized that there were people gathered in front of the house, they used a different out of people.
And well, in the pictures you're sending us, we can see a number of the notable personalities of the MPP, former Foreign Minister Hakman Uzu-Ajiman.
Party Chairman Freddie Blair as well, Gabi Asari-Atrodako is also here, Madam Esla Usu is also here, and some other constituency executives of the New Patriotic Party are also here.
Understandably, we know this is a very dark period for Ghana's parliament, but also particularly for the New Patriotic Party. And for all the reports we're getting, how are those personalities and the entire leadership of the party taking the incident, as you can read from their mood when they come to the house?
They are sad, swollen-eyed, and some of them are teary-eyed as well. Could also see Freddie Blair's eyes are swollen, teary-eyed. He runs to the same. Gabi Asari-Atrodako dressed in all black. Madam Esla has a red top and a black skirt. All the other parties are all sad. Family members are also trooping in, and they all come in tears. It's a quiet neighborhood, I should say. Before you get in here, as I said earlier, you'll have to go through some security checks before you will be allowed into the neighborhood. It's what some people would say is a residential area.
Well, thank you very much, Derek Akosam is a man, the resident of now the demise MP for Ibuakwa North, JB Dankwaidu. According to the reports that we got from Derek Akosam and has been widely reported in the media, he was stabbed in the early hours of the morning, and already the police have made their way there, trying to pick the early signals as far as how to commence investigations into this very incident. And also, according to what the reports are, we have the leadership of the New Patriotic Party and other friends of the late MP who have tried to make their way to the house to at least console with the family and also try to get first-hand information as to what really happened. But before that very line interview we had with Derek Akosam, we're talking about the 7th Africa Conference on Sexual Health and Rights. And Joseph Kwe, who is the lead communication person for the conference, had been telling us a lot more about what the objectives are. Now for you, Emmanuel Ashong, who is a conference coordinator, would you say that this comes at an opportune time when we know that those within the sexual reproductive health bracket really face difficulties as far as trying to manage their sexual life?
Well, I would say that yes, this indeed comes at an opportune time, especially because the world has embraced the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a set of 18 goals that basically promotes young people's and the world at large development. And I believe that these set of 18 goals, which ensures that people's health issues are dealt with, education issues are dealt with, gives an opportune platform for governments, for civil society, for members of parliament and multiple stakeholders to work towards ensuring that the sexual reproductive health and rights of young people are dealt with. But I must say that this conference is not just about sexual health and rights. We are focused on demographic dividend, and we are looking at exploiting the population towards our own development. You know, Africa is experiencing, and the world at large is experiencing what they call the youth bulge. We have the largest number of young people ever experienced in the world today, and demographers say that we would never have that situation ever in the life of the world. And so, even though many see this as a challenge, the inherent in this challenge are opportunities. And I believe that if we are able to make the useful investments in education, in healthcare, and creating employment opportunities, then we will be able to navigate this road and ensure that young people are able to maximize the benefits of the population that we have in Africa.
And Joseph, ultimately, who are the participants? Where are you drawing them from?
Yeah, so we are expecting around 1,000 participants from across the African continent and beyond the borders of the continent as well. We are expecting policymakers to be present. We are expecting the media. We are expecting young people, youth activists, gender activists, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations who work around young people's sexual and reproductive health. We are expecting the First Lady, who is the president of the Organization of African First Ladies Against HIV and AIDS, to be there at the opening ceremony. And the opening ceremony will be held at the Kempinski Hotel and will be launched by the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. So we are expecting a host of people to be part of this dialogue. And this dialogue has been, it's part of a long-term process of fostering regional dialogue on sexual and reproductive health with the aim of making youth programs and services to ensure that there is a sexually healthy continent.
Okay, so we have to wrap up on this. So it's tomorrow, and what time is it?
Well, the program starts at 10:30. That's the official opening time. But of course, if you have been invited, you need to be there from 9 a.m. because from 10, the place is going to be locked up because the president is attending. It's at the Kempinski Hotel, and we are expecting the UN Under-Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Population Fund who will be delivering the keynote address.
Who are your collaborators?
Well, we are working with Action Health Incorporated, and indeed Action Health Incorporated has been putting together this conference over the past years. This is the 7th conference. It happens every 2 years. So previously we have had this conference in Johannesburg. We've had it in Yaoundé. That was where we had the 6th conference, and this is the 7th conference. We are also working with partners like the UN Population Fund, UNAIDS, and a couple of them who are helping in making this happen.
Well, thank you very much for passing through the studio. It's a privilege to have you, and we hope that after the conference we can have a lot more conversation on the subject for which we're having this very conference and the discussions thereof. We've had in the studio Joseph Kweyamu, who is the communication lead for the 7th Africa Conference on Sexual Health and Rights, and then also the conference coordinator has been in the studio alongside in the person of Emmanuel Ashong. And thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I hope to have you sometime, though. You want to get interactive, very easy for you to do so. Just join us through our WhatsApp platform, and the number is 0568 100,000. Many of you still sending us a lot more of those messages. We're grateful. Again, we have to run by you that in the early hours of this morning, we got the news that the Member of Parliament for Ibuakwa North had been stabbed in his home in East Legon here in Accra. JB Dankwa is his name. Derek Ekosam has been at the scene and will be giving us a lot more of the update as and when we get him, and he has a lot more of those information as well. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're having a lot more discussions on the show. Do stay on.